Welcome back to the Golf Fitness Academy. We're talking about the 3 most common questions that we get asked on our website, mytpi.com, and they are, Dave, in no particular order. Number 1, what are 10 great exercises to do for my golf swing?
Yep.
Tough question to answer. Number 2 is, I got lower back pain. What should I do for my lower back pain? And number 3, and Dave, I think this is one that we hear from everybody, how can I hit the ball farther?
That's right.
10 more yards, right?
Yep.
So we talked about this pattern of mobility, stability all the way through the body, and we talked about if you had dysfunction in that pattern, that, hey, we can lose yardage, we can cause pain. And
affect our golf swings.
Everything.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to talk, let's start with the ankle. Let's go down in a half kneeling position. Okay, now when it comes to ankle mobility, real important, there's a muscle in the back of your leg called the calf. The calf has 2 muscles in it. It has a muscle called the gastrocnemius and a muscle called the soleus. Those 2 muscles, if they become tight, will prevent the ankle from having good mobility. Okay, here's the exercise. We're going to get in the half kneeling position. You're going to take a golf club. You can use a massage stick if you want. Golf club, I always recommend putting a little bit of lotion on the back of your calf for you guys so we're not pulling hair. Dave, you can handle it.
Yep.
Okay, so what we're going to do is something called search and destroy. Here's what it means. Dave, I want you to take the club and go up and down the calf, and you're looking for a sore spot. You can search everywhere. You can search on the outside of the calf, inside of the calf, and I'm always looking at my clients for their face and their reaction. Usually, you find one yet?
I got one. I got one.
Usually, you'll see that facial expression once they find it. Now, once you find that spot, we're going to do what I call destroy. So you search, now we're going to destroy.
Okay.
We're going to go up and down. I like maybe doing 20 to 30, up and down, breaking down the adhesions that occur. Muscles have skin on top of the muscle called myofascia. That fascia gets stuck to the muscle sometimes when you have injuries or just chronic tightness. We're now breaking the fascia off of the muscle, which is going to help us stretch the calf.
Got it.
Now, the pain will start to get down a little bit, right?
Yeah, it has.
Now, usually I'll have the players go through and search for at least 3 spots and destroy all 3 spots.
Got it.
Once you've done that, here's what we're going to do. Let me have the club over here. You're going to take the club with the grip down, go to the big toe, about 6 inches inside the big toe. Now, Dave, keeping the club vertical and your heel on the ground, I want to see if you can get your knee past your toe. So once you've done that search and destroy, this should help you stretch that muscle, the soleus. Right. And I'm going to hold it for maybe 10 to 15 seconds. Feel that?
You definitely feel a big stretch. So those of you who are runners out there, we get this a lot. The runners who think they're in pretty good shape, they often suffer from this swing fault where they actually lunge towards the golf ball. And as a result, it's because you're not stretching this enough.
That's it. That's called search and destroy. That's the calf. That's going to get us that ankle mobility. Now let's talk about the hip. I'm going to bring this little device out here, a little chair.
All right.
Bring a scent runner. Dave, I'm going to have you get into a half kneeling position on the chair as well.
Got it.
Okay, so now let me grab a piece of tubing here. Take just some regular stretch cord tubing. Get this at any local sporting goods store. Put this around your foot. And now what I want you to do is take the other end and attach it inside of a door. Okay, so that'll kind of give you a little bit of resistance. Now, the exercise that we're going to work on here is called internal and external rotation. The hip loses range of motion, rotary, internal and external. In this half kneeling position, I want you to really fire your abdominals, get your whole core, spinal stabilized. From here, I want you to go ahead and take your foot and try and go as far as you can across your body. Now that is called, keep going back and forth. When he goes across, it's called external rotation in the hip. The hip is actually externally rotating. When he comes towards me, you just relax. The hip is now internally rotating.
This is definitely one that I feel a lot, and this is one I struggle with in my own swing.
Keep going back and forth. This is one of the most important movements for not only health in the lower back, but for power in the golf swing. And I'm going to demonstrate this in a second, but keep going back and forth. Once you're done with the left leg, you can switch over to the right leg and just go both directions, and then move the tubing on the other side of the body and do the same. Now I want to show Dave, go ahead and come all the way up.
Yep.
I want to show you in the golf swing. In the backswing, my right hip is going to internally rotate. Real important to have a stable platform to develop speed or power in the golf swing.
That's right, and a lot of people, Greg, they think that that's actually externally rotating because you're moving out.
It's not.
But it's not.
Internal rotation, real important. The downswing is the same. As I rotate around my left leg, I'm internally rotating around my left hip.
That's right.
Once again, that stable, firm left side is how I'm going to develop speed.
That's right. So any of you out there that may suffer from what they call a sway or a slide, so if you're one of those players that when you get in your setup, you go to the top of your backswing, you find that you tend to roll to the outside of this foot, and then on the downswing you have to slide your hips back to the golf ball, then these hips may be the problem. It kills power in the golf swing because you've stopped rotating your body.
And last thing, think about this. If your hips aren't rotating, you're going to use your lower back. You use your lower back, you're going to go down with pain.
That's right.
Okay, so now the last one I want to show here is, Dave, go ahead and grab this. We're going to do a lunge. I want you to take your right foot out forward, right foot forward, down into a lunge. From this lunge position, I'd like you to go ahead and twist or turn towards me. Perfect. This is called a lunge with a twist. Go back out of it and come right back in. Go ahead and step out, come back in. Now I want you to notice Dave's nice and stable over the foot. A lot of you out there, when you do this, you're going to see your knee starts to drift outside. You're almost going to lose your balance, feel like you're going to fall. Very important, like we talked about, knee stability. This is really requiring ankle stability and mobility, knee stability, and hip range of motion, even some upper back.
That's right. So in the golf swing again, and when we relate it back to the golf swing, if you're one of those players that may reverse spine or get into your golf swing position and at the top, you tend to get this way, it could be because of a faulty knee position and the knee not being stable.
As you can see, we're building back that stable pattern to knock out, like we said, lower back pain, more power, and obviously we're highlighting what I think kind of the best exercises for golf. So now, don't go away. When we come back, we're going to move this up into the mid-back and the shoulders. Welcome back to the Golf Fitness Academy. We're talking about the 3 most common questions that we get asked. Number 1 is, what are the 10 best exercises for my golf swing? Number 2, what can I do for my lower back? And number 3 is, how do I get more power? And we're going to answer it with the same 10 exercises. We're now into the mid-back. In my opinion, there are 2 key areas that you have to hit for golf. That's your hip and your thoracic spine or your mid-back. The mid-back needs to have rotation mobility. It needs to be able to rotate. But one of the things that happens in your spine, your mid-back, is you lose extension. In other words, you can't bend backwards. When you lose extension, you almost get rounded over. When you get rounded over, you lose rotation. So one of the things that we have to do to get rotation back is that we have to get extension back. The best exercise is called the press up. What Dave's doing is laying face down. He's going to brace his abdominals. He feels like his belly button's going up to his spine. That helps get that stable lower back. Now, keeping the lower rib cage against the ground, he's going to try and lift his upper back up off the ground. Go ahead and try. And you feel that where, Dave?
I feel it right in the middle of the back.
Right here, right?
Yeah,
right between the shoulder blades, up between the higher part of the shoulder blades and the lower part of the shoulder blades, back and forth. If you feel this in your lower back, guess what? You're doing that dysfunctional pattern that we talked about. Now you're sacrificing lower body stability for lack of extension. Keep the lower back stable, get it from the mid-back. That's called the press up. Great exercise, easy one to get some extension. Go ahead in that half kneeling position again.
The other good thing about that one that we were just doing is if you're one of those players in your posture that gets really rounded with your shoulders and rounded in your setup, that'll really open you up as well.
Absolutely. So we're going to go half kneeling again, hold the club right above your head. Hands about shoulder width apart. Now, this one's called long turns. Keeping your head facing forward, let's go ahead and rotate. Now, I want you to notice I'm going to keep this club above his head. Keep going back and forth. Real important here, Dave, is feel like your stomach is braced. Abs braced, so we're having that stable lower back. Keep going back and forth. Whoops, I'm going to move my hand out of the way, keeping that club up. Now, here we go. We got stable lower body. We got the arms up in the air. Stop for 1 second. When the arms are up in the air, we're engaging the lat muscle. The lat muscle is that big muscle that spans his lower back, and it's involved in limiting thoracic rotation. A lot of people work on rotation with their arms crossed. As soon as they lift their arms up in their golf swing, they can't turn anymore. So this time, he's got his arms up in the air, and we're going to work on that T-spine rotation. So go ahead and rotate. Good. Very important to try and keep your lower body stable. Where do you feel that one, Dave?
Well, I feel it definitely in that lat.
Right in that mid-back area, right?
Mid-back and lat, yep.
All right, awesome. Now, last one I like to do is let's go ahead and stand all the way up.
Yep.
So now we got some extension in the mid-back, helps, like you said, with posture. We've got the lats engaged, arms up and rotating. Now let's mimic the golf swing. Let's go ahead and get in golf posture. Arms crossed, and now let's take our feet together. Anytime I take my feet together, now I'm going to force you to stabilize a little bit more. So we're working on that stability. Now I want you to keep your belt buckle facing me. Yep. Let's go to one leg. Standing on one leg, keeping your belt buckle facing me, I want to see if you can get some thoracic spine rotation, just some big shoulder turns. Notice that he's focusing the rotation from his mid-back, not from his lower back. Really trying to get that T-spine rotation.
Yeah, and Greg, I've noticed like if you add a little bit of hip turn here, then you'll fall over.
You're going to fall over.
And you know, you see a lot of guys that don't have that rotation, that's what they do.
Okay, so you can stop there for a second. So the key things here for mid-back rotation. Number 1, if I get more mid-back rotation, I get less compensations in the hips, I get less compensations by standing up out of posture, and the most important thing is now, my lower back doesn't hurt,
That's right.
I get more yardage, and obviously this is part of our top 10 exercises. We've got through, let's see, that's 6 exercises so far. That means we got 4 more, so hang with us. We'll add the last 4 exercises to our top 10.